Hello and welcome along to Clare FM's Sideline View. It's Derek Lynch with you for the next hour. Coming up on the show, we look ahead to a big weekend for the Clare senior and under-20 footballers, while Rice College are bidding for All-Ireland football glory. We'll hear from Diarmaid Nash ahead of his All-Ireland singles handball final, hear from Spanish Point after their brilliant All-Ireland semi-final win, and look ahead to Clare's national Camogie league clash with Down. Now, it is a massive weekend of football in Clare, indeed inter-county and club level. We'll have the second round of the club leagues played as well. And when the under-20s hopefully have their business done, all eyes will focus on Zimmer at Park Kissogue for what is a huge game for Paul Madden and the lads. If they beat Wexford, well, it sets up a trip to Markievicz Park a week later that could be significant. But Paddy Carmody with us to look ahead to it. And I suppose, Paddy, all they can do is look at Sunday. You can't get distracted by anything else. But fair to say, in terms of how this league campaign will be viewed, is this almost the game that will decide which prism we're looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. As you were kind of alluding to there, Derek, we just have to win our two games and not worry about anything else. That's where we are at the minute. It's funny. It seems to be we seem to be following in the footsteps of last year's league campaign and the year before, where we're potentially looking at having two losses and losing out on scoring difference. So you'd hope that we win our two games and that Westmeath and or Wexford, hopefully by us beating Wexford we take them out of the equation, but we got to hope that Westmeath potentially will they get trouble at home to Limerick in this round. You're not sure, but maybe on in their last game they're away to Wexford, I think, which will be intriguing as well. So I think our league status, our league hopes are going to go right down to the wire. But if we don't win our two games, we're going to be out of the equation. But I certainly, whether it's a gut feeling or not, I think the lads are really coming well. I have a good feeling about the two games in hand. I think the Wexford game, this is definitely our biggest game, and it potentially could be the biggest game of the year, depending on where it brings us. And Wexford are fully in contention. They're going to come to Ennis full of confidence as well, expecting a good shootout, not exactly a shootout, a careless one. Obviously teams will have defensive plans, but both teams need to win this game. So I think we're going to be in for a cracker in Park Kissogue, and hopefully our supporters get out and support us, or even people that may not necessarily go to football matches. You'd hope that they come in and drive in the team. Like, with these new rules, the games are very exciting, very enjoyable to watch, and we need a big park in the crowd to drive our lads on, get over the line against Wexford hopefully, and then regardless what happens, it's going to be a tough game up in Sligo. I was looking at the permutations. Sligo are almost certainly going to be scrapping for a win that day as well, for their own safety. So we've two very, very tough games, but it'll be two games where we'll have a really good reflection on where we are as a group, and two games I'm looking forward to.
And the fact that we had such a good middle block with those 3 games in a row, and then a little bit of a break to maybe decompress a small bit and refocus on those 2 games to close, like it has fallen nicely insofar as you have your 3 wins up. Yes, you have winning momentum, but you've also got a chance to rest the bodies now before looking to ramp it up again.
Yeah, exactly that. And I don't think any of us expected a miracle up and down the first day, but we got a performance that we could be proud of. New management team, a lot of new players. We pushed down all the way that evening. It'd be interesting if we could play them again. I know they've obviously progressed as well, so that was a tough day out. And I just felt on the day Westmeath were further down their road of development than what we are. Again, you wouldn't be if you'd love to play them again, actually. Offensively, they got some nice scores that day, Westmeath. But again, it was our second day out. We were, just a week after a tough trip to Down. And I'm sure if Milky and the lads had the chance, they get to play them again. So it is all falling nicely together. And, if you're looking at your run into championship, wouldn't it be great to get these 2 wins, and with a little bit of luck, a trip to Croker, and then you'd be all set for your championship after that.
And like coming into the game, I was watching back a couple of highlights of the Limerick game. Like, it seemed to me that it was the game we had played at the highest tempo, the highest pace, doing things that little bit quicker. And if you look at it from the point of view of Wexford having come up from Division 4, okay, they are a Division 3 team now, the same as ourselves. They've earned that right, but maybe it's a thing to go after, that the game be played at a high tempo, something that they haven't been road tested with and may not be fully comfortable with just yet.
Exactly. We've got a lot of players that are well seasoned. We've still got a good clatter of players that had a good few seasons in Division 2 and really played, to a very high level in terms of standards. Teams that have had good runs in the Sam Maguire, some good performances in there. Croke Park experience, and as you said, that was probably the difference. There is a difference between every single division, and that gets evident when it comes, when the ground gets better, the conditions aren't as much as play, and you allow intensity to dictate the result. And I think that's what happened the last day against Limerick. Just we were able to operate at a level that they weren't used to. They might be able to hit that level every now and again. Limerick and Wexford after coming up, but our lads should be more used to operating at that level, and to have better game control coming down the stretch, and that's what you'd be hoping for. That against Wexford, we get out, that we're in contention early. We never let them get too far ahead of us, and then once we heading into the second half, that we're eyeing the victory and making them uncomfortable and pushing for home ourselves, rather than to be caught in a dogfight where it comes down to the last couple of minutes. But you'd hope that's not the case. So that I feel our panel of players are should be more advanced than the two teams in question. I think probably it's fair that Down are probably done and dusted. They probably are the best team in the division, but we're certainly not too far behind them currently.
No, and also, like, in fairness, it's been a learning curve for management as well. But from a scoring perspective, we've been doing quite well in the last couple of games, kicking the 24-25 point mark. And they themselves admitted maybe defensively we had a little bit of work to do, which was very impressive the last night. So if that continues, there's a lot of reasons to be positive ahead of Sunday.
Absolutely, and that's the thing in football. It's very hard to make some tweaks in a week or two window between matches that's actually going to help you offensively. Like we even under go back to Colin Collins' era, when we had Gary midfield and we were a bit more explosive and expansive and more direct. We traditionally do kick up good scores. We always do. We always provide entertaining games, and yes, our defensively we could tweak it, but definitely the lads, there's if they can keep up what they're doing offensively, they could definitely tighten up. But little individuals can improve. Their understanding with each other can also improve. Um, New little partnerships. You see, there's players playing a slightly different position. So all these things take a little bit of time to gel into. And that's what you'll be hoping, is that in this 2 week period where the lads can work together, we've got a squad of players that are good quality players. They're there, they know each other well. They're in a slightly different routine or management group at the minute, and you'd be hoping that they would knit together a lot quicker than what you'd be expecting other teams. Where if another team is struggling to score, like your Sligos and Wexford to score too much, that if we can keep our scoring charts high and we can put the squeeze on the defence, then we have to be very confident heading into the last two games.
And we won't find this out, I suppose, until later on Friday night. But from a team selection point of view, you'd be hoping maybe Dara Bohannon might be somewhere right to come back in. Killian Rowine is pushing to come back in again, obviously. So it won't be easy, though, because the lads that have stood in their stead have done very little to justify taking them out again. So I would imagine a few little battles in training this week as well.
Yeah, exactly. And if they don't start, that's not bad either. Once we'll see how important the squad is. So if Killian is back and Dara, even if they're coming off the bench with 20 minutes to go, you're not weakening your team there. You know what I mean? You'd like the lads that have, the new fresh lads that have come in to keep going, keep the confidence high. As you said, there'll be battles at training, but that's what we want everyone fit. We want to have a panel where there's 22 or 23 fighting for the first 15 place, and that every sub that comes on, and the games are getting longer. Subs that coming on, they're making a difference. Like as we saw from Cormac Murray when he came on against Laois, like he did turn the game. Like he was the catalyst for for getting that result, just that freshness. Leach weren't able to deal with him with his pace, and he was direct when he got the ball. And that's when if Dara's coming in midfield, we know what he's going to bring. He's going to contest every ball. He's going to be a big help defensively. He can get forward at times as well. And again, with Killian as well, he's going to help bolster the defence no matter what he does. So, everything seems to be in our favour. Just hoping that when we go over the white line on Sunday, that that the players take it on, and that it isn't a letdown, that they continue to improve, and that the work is done behind them.
Absolutely, yeah. It's an early enough start on Sunday afternoon, but hopefully plenty reason and time in the afternoon to celebrate after that. Before all that, Paddy, we'll be turning our attention shortly. We'll be talking to Diarmaid Coughlin in a couple of minutes' time about their opening game of the Under-20 campaign, and Rice College as well. In a lot of ways, it's an awful shame that those two games are clashing. They're in the All-Ireland final up in just outside Athlone there, and huge opportunity for them. But for the Under-20s, I suppose that's the next conveyor belt. That'll be hoping for a good campaign as well.
I think so, and if I'm right, I think we have a good scatter of players that were involved in last year's Under-20, and I think a lot of them will want to. The performances were very Jekyll and Hyde, even within games. We saw enough in last year's team that they should have won more matches than what they played in. They played some really good stuff at times, and you'd hope that Dermot they have a full preparation. Last year's management team was catapulted in very late in the day, so you'd hope with the experience of the players, and obviously the experience that Diarmaid Coughlin is bringing, that and a full long preparation into it, you'd be hoping that they see out games better. So there's definitely the skill, and there's definitely the potential now to get into leads, but can we manage the entire game? So that's what we want to see. We want to see progression from year to year, and if that's what we see, if the Clare players can make their good spells longer, and they're able to dig in, when games are going against them, and limit the damage and turn the cycle. That's what we'll be looking for, and you have to expect a decent return from our 20s. There's some good lads there, and as I said, they've a bit of experience now from last year's 20s and 17s before that. So fingers crossed it goes well for them all.
Yeah, that is for sure. And we'll hear from both the Under-20 and Rice College camps in the next couple of minutes. Paddy, thanks very much indeed for that. So we'll get the Under-20 view first, where manager Diarmaid Coughlin has been speaking to me ahead of that game with Tipperary.
When you come back in November, first thing you're looking at is putting the panel together, and basically we have a new panel from last year, and we're building really, I suppose, Derek, we've only 4 starters from the game against Tip and no win last year in last April, and a lot of players from the last couple of minor teams, so it's really a building job really that's there at the minute, Derek, yeah.
Did it make it easier for you integrating, given that you would have known a lot of them quite well?
I suppose when I was asked about the job, in fairness to Deirdre and Kieran Keaton, I think that was the main topic of conversation, that we had a good knowledge of the players from my time at minor level, and I suppose they didn't really want to let any player slip through the net that would have been featured in those teams, and I can see the logic behind it, and it was a great help to me from having been involved at minor level, Derek, yeah.
It's a fairly good conveyor belt, though, it has to be said. I think there was a lot of people, wondering where was the Clare development squads in the last couple of years, but we've certainly started to bring through, and it's, at senior level we've seen a couple, but particularly at 20 and minor, we are starting to see real development there.
Yeah, it's a bit more consistent. I think there was a bit hit and miss there before, that teams, as you said, coming through from squads that hadn't featured, and lads were probably wondering where these lads were gone, but there's a steady flow coming now from squads to minor, and there's a big percentage of those going from minor to 20. So I think it's a good thing that they're in that conveyor there, that you're going from minors to 20s, and the few that are breaking onto seniors. So I think that's the whole reason behind these squads, is that you have a bit of a conveyor belt, and there seem to be few more players coming through, all right, yeah.
And how much of that is down to maybe an added focus on the S&C and fundamental movements and all that? Obviously the football side of things is huge, but physically now the game has probably gone to a new level. Yeah,
and I think S&C has really taken off really in the last maybe 4 or 5 years. Basically when Rob Mulcahy came in there first, and now Conor Shannon is continuing on the good work. I think there's more players are not being allowed to slip through. They're being brought on from year to year, and I think it helps too when they're in an S&C program. it's easier to keep track of that player when you bring them onto a squad, that they're actually doing that. So I think that they're being looked after that side of it. It's definitely a big help to us in management that there's someone looking after that side of it, Derek.
And is it easier then to retain players or to keep them interested, keep them around when they can see things are being done right and they're seeing an obvious benefit for it from themselves?
I think it's a bit of a knock-on, really. I mean, at school level, they're kind of doing the same thing at school level. Then they're coming into development squads and they're coming into minor squads. And there's good traceability there and there's accountability there, which is more important. When you have the right probably people involved who are making sure these players are doing it, I think it makes it easier then when they're coming onto a squad. If it's left unchecked for 6 months or 7 months, that player has probably fallen away. So that there's traceability there on these players, it can only be a good thing, Derek. Yeah.
And also the recent expansion in the last couple of years of this championship, it was for a long time the kind of standalone knockout for a finish. The round robin came in and mirroring that minor model that you would have been very familiar with the phase 1 and phase 2. How much do you think that has helped in kind of retaining players in counties like Clare, that you can offer them, lads, at this grade we're going to get our 4 or 5 championship games?
It's massive. It's absolutely massive. I mean, under the old scheme, you could play 3 years county minor and maybe play 3 matches. Lads are playing on any given year now, they're playing at least 4 or 5 matches in the 1 year. That's leaving out the work that's been done. Maybe you throw in 8 or 9 or 10 challenge games before that, and maybe probably 70 or 80 training sessions. So there's massive work, but you're sending them back to the clubs as better players. I think that's the most important thing out of this. It's one thing being a manager or being in a county squad and saying, look at all, we were involved in this and that. But I think the whole objective has to be sending these players back to their clubs as better players. And I think if the clubs see that, I think the release of players will come, that'll be easier for everyone involved.
Is that that's a really interesting point? Like, is that the mind shift that's the mind shift that's needed? That it's not about the club supplying the county, but that the county has a responsibility to give back to the club.
I think a lot of us went up to Tyrone there 2 or 3 years ago. I think a group of us went up there, and I think the Tyrone model was that you never got a county jersey or you never got gear until you're about 15 years of age, until you had all the required skills to make those squads. But I think the important thing then was, the mantra was that whatever about making it at county level, but you were going back to your club a way better players. And I think the clubs bought into that. They weren't slow in sending their players into squads, into development squads, into county minors. And as I said, the knock-on effect was there. You were getting the best of both worlds. You were getting a county player, and plus the club were getting a quality player that was coming back into the system.
You're starting out your campaign this weekend on Saturday. It's the first of that phase 1. I think it's the only home game. There's a trip to Limmy Bryan and then a trip down to Mount Collins as well between the Waterford and Limerick games. So that first game, to have it at home, hit the ground running, very important.
It is very important. We'll be familiar with TIP for minor level, and they're a bit like ourselves. The dual thing is a big factor with the overlap, but that's kind of gone now. I mean, you're working with whatever panel you have at the start of the year. A lot of quality in their sides like ourselves. So, I mean, it's a massive game for us. As you said, it's our only home game. So, we're hoping to put our best foot forward and get a result there Saturday in Quilty, Derek.
Yeah, and it's a gas dynamic that you've been waiting for this first game so long, and then all of a sudden come Saturday evening you've only 7 days until your next one.
That's the way it's gone now. I mean, that is the split season, and that's the way it works. I mean, they have if you're getting so many games, you have to see the other side of it too, that there's a shorter window there to play them, and obviously when there's a phase 2, between phase 1 and phase 2, there's only 1 week of a break. So, yeah, plenty games are coming thick and fast, all right. Yeah, if you pick up an injury, you can be a bit unlucky, but it's the same for everyone, Derek, isn't it?
Absolutely. You'll be hoping to set the tone, Diarmaid. If I can just get a quick word from you on the senior setup. Obviously, your own fella is sitting back there pulling the strings, having a brilliant campaign, it has to be said. But 3 wins in a row now after those opening 2 losses, and a simply massive game now against Wexford on Sunday.
Massive credit to Paul Madden and the lads, what they've done. I think the quality of football that they're playing at the minute, and the amount of players that they've used, and anyone that was below in Limerick could see it. I mean, it was, for my eyes, I thought it was the best Clare performance in about 3 years. I mean, totally defensive, work that was done, the way they were working the ball, the scores that they're kicking inside. I mean, it was a joy to watch below that evening, and Clare football is in good hands with the boys anyway, that's for sure.
And that's a performance that has put a lot of people talking, because I spoke to so many, even the likes of Joe Gary, who's the eternal optimist. If Clare were going up to play Dublin in Croke Park, we're going to win it. And he was saying, 1 or 2 point win here now, you'd run away home with it again. But for there to be such a gulf between the two teams and the performance they put on, it has a lot of people sitting up and taking notice.
Yeah, I would have been in the Joe Gary camp there myself. I would have been worried going down there, because we've gone down there with very good teams and got turned over. It's a hard place to go, but I think we were 1-3 to a point down after, was it 7 or 8 minutes or something like that. Derry can settled in, they never panicked, they started to play good football, held on to the ball, and you have boys there that the inside forward line is probably as good as what's in the country, in fairness. You just look at the top scorers there and throughout the divisions, and they're up there in the top 10 and in any category you want to look at.
And you've been involved in enough management teams to be able to deliver a message this week that things are still in our own hands, we can still guide our own future here. How big is that, I suppose, off the back of, after the Westmeath game, we were wondering, where's this going next?
Yeah, I suppose, you went up to down, got a great performance, but in a great performance, maybe not the result. A bit of a downer against Westmeath coming down there as well. There was maybe a little bit of a shorter turnover. We were dead on the day and probably didn't deserve anything out of it. But probably you were playing the two top teams who had just come down from Division 2, so they would have been playing at a higher level than you. But we probably hit the ground running after that, and it's massive to be looking forward to Wexford at home and Sligo in the last 2 games, to have it still in your own hands, albeit that Westmeath still have the head-to-head on you, but all you can do is play what's in front of you, Derek, and that's it.
Absolutely. And just on that, I suppose, and he's a man that's known to both of us. He's a fellow clubman in Brendan O'Neill and Denny O'Driscoll. They've got Rice College into a Senior D All-Ireland final as well this weekend. Just a pity in many ways that it's clashing. It probably splits support a little bit, but for a Clare team to be in an All-Ireland schools final, I suppose it's the same competition Spanish Point won a couple of years ago. What a fantastic achievement that is.
Oh, I have no doubt about it, Derek. When you hit an All-Ireland final at any grade, it doesn't matter what it is, A, B, C or D. It takes a massive requirement, massive effort out of the lads, out of the players, out of the teachers, out of everyone involved. So best luck to those lads, every one of those that are involved with them, and there is great men involved with them, that's for sure.
That is Clare under-20 football manager Diarmaid Coughlin there, and we will be live from Park Nuvera in Quilty for that game tomorrow. As we mentioned, Rice College hoping to create history by being crowned All-Ireland Senior D football champions for the first time when they take on Largy College from Clonus in County Monaghan. That game has been switched now to the Connacht GAA Centre of Excellence in Beacon tomorrow afternoon, so you can reset the sat-navs there for Knock and leave yourself a few minutes maybe to say a quick prayer in the Basilica on the way up that they might win. But ahead of the game, I've been speaking with the joint management team of Brendan O'Neill and first Dennis O'Driscoll.
It's the first time that we've been in this situation with the school, so really looking forward to it. Nice buzz around the school, and everyone's getting behind us, so yeah, it's fantastic opportunity.
And this group up along, were there signs of green shoots that perhaps this was on the cards?
Yeah, we knew they were a talented bunch. We had a little bit of success with them at Clare 15s. 2 years ago we were actually in a Munster under 17 final, and I just looked at last night, there was 18 of the panel were involved in that day as well. Now, unfortunately we came up short by 2 points on that day, but you could see that there was talent in the bunch, and just it's come together nicely for us this year.
Yeah, Brendan, I suppose is it a case of momentum? Is that what has driven this year so far?
Yeah, I suppose with all schools teams, at the start of the year usually starts off slow, but this has evolved for us over the last couple of matches. In particular, I saw it coming together nicely from the quarter final on. We played Skullfold down in Kilfinnan, down in UL, and we're moving on then to the Munster final in against Causeway. And that was a big occasion for the school and a big occasion for them, and coming up against the Kerry opposition. It was that little bit, I suppose, of extra rivalry between the teams, and they were a very, very good team. And the way I describe the team is they're very resilient. They never give up, and on that day they could easily have, when things were going against them, they could have given up and given in, but fair dues to them, they stuck it out, and they got the crucial scores at the crucial times. They just swung it for us in the end, and They're a team of surprises to me. They keep giving and keep surprising us every day. So hopefully that'll turn good on Sunday or Saturday as well.
And that Munster final victory, I mean, from a belief perspective, how much will that play into this weekend?
Yeah, he's given tremendous confidence to the group. You know, you'd see the buzz in them after that. You know, the enthusiasm, the amount of hard or the amount more they're working and training, and there's a good bit of bite now coming on for places, and it's making myself and Dennis's challenge, I suppose, to pick a team a little bit more. You might have had one or two maybe competing for a place up to that, but you know, there's 3 or 4 there now knocking on the door, and you know, we'll easily believe that they do a job for us if we brought them in. And it's great to have that bit of comfort in the panel as well, that we have a few in the subs that will come in and do a job for us in various different positions. So the confidence element and the way it's evolved for the group over the last couple of matches has been brilliant.
And you've been involved here in the school, Denny, for quite some time. You won't quite put a figure on it, but I'm told it's getting towards a roundy number anyway. But the way that the teams would have evolved, like you see young fellas coming through now, they've played at inter-county level, be it minor or 20, they've represented their club at senior level, that under-19 element. How much has that changed?
Oh, it definitely has changed. Just everything, I suppose. When I came to the school first, GAA has moved on tremendously. Like the level of professionalism from clubs and from the lads involved in the county, it's just gone to different levels. Even the underage teams that are in clubs, they're all preparing really, really well. So yeah, we've seen massive changes since the first time that we took over teams here in Rice College.
And I suppose it's been a long furrow to get to this point. Like, take us through maybe some of the other high points of football in the school back along your time.
We over the course of our time, we've won 3 Munster under-15s. I think it was 2003, 2006 and 2011 was the last one. We've picked up a few couple of Clare senior titles and 1 or 2 at 16 level and 15 level. Last few years now have been maybe a bit quieter than we would have liked, but hopefully now this team will maybe inspire a few new players or a few more players to start coming to us, and hopefully we'll be a bit more competitive in the years to come. Yeah, because All-Ireland finals, like we know, they're not exactly hanging off tree branches. No, absolutely not. No, like the lads are lucky. I think one of them used the phrase the last day before semi-final that it was a privilege to be playing an All-Ireland semi-final, and I'm sure they'll view it the same way now again on Saturday. It's a privilege for them. It's a privilege for us to be involved with them, and yeah, you just hope that there will be a kind of a kick-on from this, and that GAA will maybe flourish a little bit more again in Rice College afterwards. And that attitude they have, Brendan, seems to be brilliant. Like, even just talking to Niall and Jack there's a real maturity about them. Like, they're young men, essentially. Yeah, they're young men, and I suppose for us as teachers in the school, it's just great to see the benefits of extracurricular activities coming to the fore. You know, the involvement in football, and I suppose the extra little bit you get out of them in class. I have quite a number of them in my Leaving Cert class, and often the conversation might stray a small little bit from what we're doing in class to maybe a chat about the match of the weekend or the tactics for the match coming ahead. But it's just great to see the enthusiasm that it's bringing to the classroom as well, and you're getting to see kids in a different light, and you're getting to see the extra talents that they have and the extra give that they're given. And it's just really highlights to me the benefits and how crucial extracurricular activities, and you know, for us, for the football in the school, is great for the young fellas. Really is. The opponents then, it's an Ulster outfit from Monaghan. Tell us a little bit about them. Yeah, sure. Look, they're a northern team from Monaghan, Clones. They're going to be really, really competitive. They're going to be really, really strong. They're strong all over the field. They have a number of players involved with minor panels and development panels up along. So they're going to be strong, and they're going to present a different type of challenge the next day. We probably expect them to be a little bit more defensive, maybe in their approach. But you know, we'll work on our side of it, and we'll take a look at some of the tactics we can bring to try and, you know, put our best foot forward for the lads in the final. But you know, we've every confidence in them. Like, if they play the way they've played up along, and play with the maturity they've played with, and play with the enthusiasm they've played with, to be fair, and it's kind of, you know, take the pressure off. It's a final. You know, give it their all, and let's see what comes of it. It will be challenging for them. But they're not afraid of working hard. They're a group that will work hard, and we'll give them a task to do, and they'll do it, and they'll stick to their guns. And they're clever players as well. The instructions that we give them, they usually carry them out to the tee. So we're just hopeful that we can give a good account of ourselves in the final, and hopefully all the stuff that we've used to get us there will come to the fore on Saturday.
And Diddy, that's an interesting point Brendan makes about maybe the developed understanding that players nowadays have of the game and their game intelligence.
Oh yeah, that's evolved as well. They have a certain level of expectation of what we will bring. They're asking us questions like, have you checked out the opposition? Who are their danger men? They're doing a bit of research themselves. They're on Instagram. They're looking for clips. So as I said already, the level of preparation has definitely increased over the years. So hopefully now it'll all come together for us on Saturday, and we get a good performance. So that's the key. We're just looking for a big performance from our lads, and let's see where that brings us.
And we saw Spanish Point win this title a couple of years ago as well, if I'm not mistaken. But for Clare football as a whole, and I know you're deeply rooted in it, obviously, a Clare team in an All-Ireland football final, what a brilliant achievement that is.
Oh, it's great. It is fantastic. Ennis-Diamond have done great work over the last number of years. They were in the All-Ireland final last year, just pipped really unfortunately after extra time. Spanish Point have been there. So we're just delighted that it's our turn this year. Things have gone well for us and it's our turn. But anything that raises the profile of football in Clare is great. And so I said hopefully we capitalise on that on Saturday.
Yeah, best of luck to all the Rice College crew tomorrow. And just a reminder again, that game now switched to the Connacht GAA Centre of Excellence in Beacon, County Mayo, with a 1:30 start. More to come here on Sideline View. Do stay tuned. Now, delighted to have a man on the line that's hoping for a national title this weekend, an All-Ireland handball title, hopefully going back to the Chumgraney club and out to Scariff direction for the second time for Diarmaid Nash. He's with us to look ahead and indeed look back as well, Diarmaid. Fantastic achievement to have reached the final, and a fairly tough road to get there.
No, absolutely. Listen, I suppose I didn't make life easy for myself. In ways, I've gone tiebreaker now in the semi-final and quarter-finals, so but I suppose there's two ways looking at it. You can kind of think I'm definitely battle hardened, I suppose, which is a good thing, but definitely last weekend I won't say fell asleep in the game too, but I maybe let him get a lead and made hard work of it, but no, great to get over the line anyways in the end, and back to the final, and hopefully we can do business,
Yeah, something onto that whole Dublin bus adage. We wait until 2022 for the first one, and here's an opportunity just a couple of years later for a second, so obviously things going well.
So this is my fifth final now. So I've only won one so far, but no, it's I definitely I made one back in 2014 was the first one, but I was a long time waiting to win it. And then I'd since 2022 I was a couple didn't maybe play as well as I could have maybe, or then it was 1 year I was injured as well, so things it doesn't always work out, but I felt good all year and trained hard and was kind of probably started training a bit earlier maybe than usual, and just just feel good, and hopefully this is what you train for, as the All-Ireland. So excited for it, and listen, I think if I play my best, I think I can win, so we'll see, but it's obviously all in the day,
I'm just wondering, when you mentioned there 2014 being your first final, what have the seeding 12 years, what have they taught you in terms of the game?
It's a good question. I mean, I think all individual sports, I don't know, it's the same in tennis and all these sports, as in in golf and things, they do tend to be dominated by older players, just because it takes, in individual sports, it takes a while to build up the experience, and that you you don't, and also a lot of these sports being in your early 30s is not a disadvantage physically or anything, you know what I mean? As in it takes, there's a bit of that, just experience, just natural experience that I've kind of gained, I think, or I hope. And then I just always kind of loved playing, and even in the off seasons, I kind of try and develop one new shot, like, you know, every off season type thing, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like golf that way, where you can always be kind of tinkering with, you know, swings and spins and all that kind of stuff. So it's never bored me, to kind of going into my own and kind of getting a bit better, and just like, yeah, I suppose in the last 12 years, I suppose I've had a fair bit of heartache, obviously, like, you know, I haven't always won, but like I've also won a fair share as well. So like, I've loved every minute of it, and, you know, hopefully we'll obviously love to win again this weekend. But yeah, I really enjoy the game, really enjoy playing and staying fit and stuff. So yeah, looking forward to it, and yeah, come what may, you know.
And have you found your own game evolving, maybe in terms of game management or ways that you go about killing off games, or trying to draw opponents in? Like that must have changed over the last couple of years as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I suppose the way I play, like, I don't know, anyone that's kind of watched me, Derek, like, I'm not the hardest hitter in the world, like, as in, like, I'm obviously more of a, like, you know, very strong defensively, very smart in the core, kind of like very good, like, you know, very accurate, I guess is probably a better way of describing it, you know, as opposed to, like, there's other players that, like, have just phenomenal power and they're able to, like, blast guys out of it. Like, I'm more of a Jordan Spieth compared to a Rory McIlroy, if that makes sense. But like, it's, yeah. So I suppose, like, how I've changed. I mean, I've maybe, like, I suppose, like, I'm one of the few players, I would say, on the kind of the circuit, let's say, that kind of generally kind of like slow, like, lob serves, if that makes sense, like a slow defensive serve, compared to a lot of guys, like, almost, like, I would say 90 to 95% of the guys will stand in the middle of the court and try and blast, like, an ace serve, if that makes sense. Whereas I that's not my game. All I want to do is that when they get the ball to a point where, like, the second you're like, so I serve it, you return it, I might not have a chance to kill the rally in that point, but I'll definitely be in control of the rally, if that makes sense. I play a way more tactical game maybe than a lot of, like, than basically I would say everyone, but that's not to say that my game is better than everyone's. That's just kind of what suits me.
The man that you're facing then at the weekend, you know plenty about him. You're very familiar with each other.
Yeah, like, so, like, as I say, this is my fifth final. I've only actually ever played Robbie in finals, in this, like, as in, like, so like, he has obviously won an awful lot of them. I think he might have won 7 of them maybe at this time, but, like, you know, he's obviously lost a few as well. Like, you know, he's probably been in the final like 10 or 11 times. So, like, he's an unbelievable player. And like, it is what it is, you know what I mean? He's obviously hot favourite, but, like, that's, like, on the day, like, you know, I think I can win, and yeah, if I play with best of my ability, I think I will. So but he's really good, and it's kind of like, if I'm not playing well, then obviously, you know, I'll be punished. So, you know, focus on what I've got, bring to the table, and just, like, yeah, throw the kitchen sink at it, really, you know.
Yeah, hopefully continued success to you. Listen, Diarmaid, I know it's a very busy schedule, so thanks for taking the time to have a chat with us, and best of luck.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers, guys.
Now, St Joseph's Spanish Point are looking forward to their first All-Ireland Senior A Ladies Football Final since 1997, after a brilliant and breathtaking win over Moat Community School. It took extra time for them to eventually see off a stern challenge from the Westmeath side, with Alicia Ryan's goal sealing a dramatic 1-point victory. After the game, Clare FM's Derek Dormer spoke to Spanish Point manager Paul Reedy.
Oh my God, I don't know what to say. It was unbelievable. They never gave up. We should have won at normal time. We didn't. I suppose your heads could drop. We went 4 points down, I think, in extra time, and we just kept at it and at it. We had 3 sin bins. We played all of extra time, the second half extra time, player down, but we kept at it and we kept at it. And you know what? You get what you deserve. And today we got what we deserved. We have worked so hard for this.
Paul, you got a goal with 2.5 minutes to go, and the stands are up. Moat come down the field, stick the ball in the net with 5 seconds to go, and it looks like it's journey over. But in the second minute of additional time, just you keep on knocking, and Alicia Ryan scrambles at home, and this place absolutely erupted.
Look, we kept at it, and I keep saying, you get what you deserve. Our girls have worked so hard since last September. It's all the small things. When you train as hard as we're doing, if there's a bit of luck to be got, you know, you get it, and we got it in the end, and for me, that's what it's about. You know, they deserve this. They just deserve, you know, getting to the final has been a big, you know, big thing for us. Last 2 All-Ireland semi-finals that we shouldn't have lost. And we're there now. Now it's another day's work to go and win it. But look, they deserve every bit of this. They're just a great. I actually use the word. I've used it loads of times in interviews. They're a special group of girls.
56 frees, 4 sin bins, and I'll put it through, there wasn't an innocuous nor a dirty challenge in the game. It, you know, thankfully it didn't, you know, change the result, but there was some really strange decisions out there, Paul.
Yeah, look at. We play on the line, we play on the edge. It's what makes us a really good team. We were playing a really, really good team as well. Like, they have won all around them because they're a really good team. And at times we struggled to keep tabs at some of their forwards, and we had to get physical. And there was a lot. Look, we play on the edge. That's the way it is. And you have to get last grass tackles, and you have to get stuck in. So, yeah, I can't look at. I can't say that you could be a better judge of whether they were harsh or not. We stuck at it, and a lot of those things can derail people. You know, Abby Kelly came back and had a great game. Aoife Martin had a great game when she came back in. You know, Anya Keefe did well when she came back. These things happen, and you just have to get on with it, like, and drive on. And you know, I'm repeating myself. We play to win, and you just keep at it. You keep at it. You keep at it. If you don't win, you don't win. But we just kept at it, and that's why I'm so proud.
You had to play the last 8 minutes of normal time with 13 players, Paul. Do you know, that's incredible. 13 players against 15 on that big open pitch, heavy pitch, and you still hung on in there and got to extra time.
Yeah, we dug in, but like, they're great girls. They just, like, people see me roaring like a lunatic from the sideline, but they do their own thing in the field as well. Do you know, last grab tackles. Aoife Martin got back there in the first period of extra time. The ball was nearly in the net. She got back in, Aoife, and got a tackle away. It's all the small things. At this level, it's all the small things. If you keep doing the small things and doing them well, you'll get there. And look, we have got to an All-Ireland final. We have to go and win it now. That's the big thing. No point getting there. And this group is too good to get to a final like that and not, again, put our best foot forward and drive on.
Finally, Paul, one question for you now, and you have to remember this, your answer will be going out on the 5:45 news bulletin on Clare FM. Abby Kelly just told me there isn't a hope they'll be in school tomorrow. So as the principal, what do you have to say about that?
I haven't even thought about 5 minutes time. Look, I suppose the PC thing to say is that they will be in school tomorrow, but we've an All-Ireland to win as well. So look, at these days don't come around. We're a small school in West Clare. Keep saying it.
Huge support here today.
I'm sick of looking at photos on our wall inside the school of teams from 30 years ago. We have our chance now to make history. We've about half the history made. We have to go and finish the job now. So look, we've a big 2 weeks. Today, 2 weeks up in Dublin. Probably, I'd imagine, I think it's Belfast we're playing. We're going to give it everything that's left inside us.
And a word in the support here, because in fairness, not just West Clare, I saw people here that just go to football games and just follow Clare teams, and it's heartening when you have a crowd like that behind you.
West Clare needs it, Derek. It does. We've small schools in West Clare. You know, the hurling maybe gets all the plaudits in our county because the population is over in the east, and the hurling is doing really well. But West Clare needs it. You know, you see people like Tommy Tuberty, Pádraig Gallagher, my father there, Ger Talty. You know, really staunch football men from West Clare that would be nearly crying at the end of that. It means so much for success and football success in Clare, whether it's boys, girls, whatever it is. It means a huge amount to them. And even to just see the best memory today wasn't the goal. It was when the girls walked over there to the stand to meet all their parents at the end. The pride, the cheering, they'll never forget this day. But again, we have to go on, we have to finish the job now.
That is Spanish Point manager Paul Reedy there, and we will have loads more build-up to come ahead of that game, which is provisionally fixed for March 26th. Back shortly here on Sideline View. Now, as we turn our attention toward Camogie, Clare will be looking to continue this unbeaten record in Division 1B and pretty much put them into the 1B final if they can get the result against Down in Páirc Uas Óg this weekend. Anne-Marie McGann with us to look ahead to it, and I suppose, Anne-Marie, after having so many weeks of discussions around venues and all the rest of it, Páirc Uas Óg for this game, fitting venue.
Yeah, definitely. And look, maybe we should send out an SOS or a pigeon up to Dublin and let the hierarchy know that it's on in the park and there'll be no messing around this weekend. But look, it's great to be there. You know, obviously the opposition, not many would know much about Down, but at least it's on in the park and hopefully we won't be facing any major hiccups as the weekend comes.
And Clare, going into this game with a nice run of form, I suppose the manner of the victory over Limerick and the drama, and I suppose the mood that will be in the dressing room after that, something that management will be looking to harness.
Yeah, and I suppose if you look through kind of the whole campaign so far, they've had a strong enough performance so far in a lot of the games, and getting that draw against Dublin had been significant. And as you said, being put to the pin of the collar, I suppose, against Limerick was a real pressure test for them. So they have that form of a bit of a cushion coming into this game, but it's important to note that I suppose the lesser of known about Down, they kind of come in under the radar, which can often be a dangerous thing. So I wouldn't take anything for granted come this weekend, and Clare won't be able to rest in their laurels, I suppose, when they hit for Cusack Park and Portasogan on Saturday.
And I suppose we were just talking about it maybe in the context of what the hurlers did insofar as, getting the head of steam up and going and then deciding that, let's keep this going. Okay, it's perceived lesser opposition with your games against, the Kildares and Carlos of the world and all the rest of it. But very important for Eugene and the management team now to keep that positive winning mood within the dressing room and let the head of steam continue.
Yeah, it is. I suppose you could look at it in one sense as well, that it's potentially an opportunity to start a few different players, in this game. But I wouldn't be doing mass changes or anything like that, because you want to keep up the momentum and you want to keep that mantra of winning and playing to the style. In fairness, I have to say they have made huge strides in terms of how they're playing in every game, and every player seems to be buying into it. And I know that Eugene and the lads said at the start of the year SNC was a big thing for them. They seem to be fit and well and able, and I suppose a bigger field now in Cusack Park the weekend will be a testament to that. But there's been strong displays across the field. You'll always have the household names like Abby and Abby Walsh and Clare Herr and Jennifer Daly and Lorna and those. But people like Maeve Malay and those have really taken the bull by the horns. And you talk about taking every opportunity and getting to keep your jersey, and the likes of her have really shown, and that's what's been important for the league. But you want to build on that and give those other players, I suppose you have the likes of Lockie, you have Ciara Grogan, you have Caoimhe Carmody, you have a good bench of players there that have an opportunity maybe to play this weekend. Sophie Cullen might get a game in goals, and build on that. And as you said, the mantra of I suppose keeping that winning sense of play about them is really important as they come into Down. I would take nothing for granted, and I know that the management team and the players will want to build on that, especially if we're looking and staring down the 1B final option.
And just when you were mentioning some of the players there, I was kind of thinking that is this the perfect storm for management, insofar as you have all your established players, you have the new players coming through, you have the returnees like Lorna and those as well, and suddenly you're melding together real depth.
Yeah, you were, but I say that with a reserve, because a lot of those players have gotten a bit of game time during it. But as I said, you don't want to do a mass kind of change on things. You want to build on things for the Down game and the Offaly game afterwards, and keep things tipping over. I suppose it's about getting a bit more game time into a few of those players and keeping that winning mantra going. Because if you go wholesale and change everything, Down could catch you as quick as they could look at you. They've beaten Dublin, who we only got a draw to. They ran Limerick to 2 points in their game, whereas we only got over Limerick with a goal. So I wouldn't take nothing for granted come this weekend, but it's important to kind of keep getting that game time into those players and building a sustained squad. That's what the league was important for, and I think the lads have done a great job on that. And
the win this weekend, I think mathematically would make the 1B final pretty secure, which I suppose would have the upshot then of you still having that Offaly game where you could experiment a little bit and give more opportunity to players to put up their hands for that final squad selection. So it's a real important game on a number of fronts. Yeah, it is. But I suppose if you're looking at the Offaly game, I would say that if you put that in the context of the Antrim game last year, where we put out a false team in Cusack Park and then we went out and played them in the final and got caught in the run. So there is an opportunity to play our players, but as I said, if you keep the sustained spine of the team, to your high pitched players who are well able to play and know the run of play, and put in one or two here or there to get the game time into them, that's important. But as I said, Down, I wouldn't take anything for granted to them. They have a couple of players there. Dervla McGee is well able to play. Amy McLennan has, been probably their top scorer in a number of their games. So they would be happy enough, and they seem to be
similar in terms of Clare and putting on a few, I suppose, non-household names or giving debutants a go at the game, and it's important to, I suppose, for them to build on that, and it's a similar setup in Clare at the moment.
And it's a big Saturday for Clare Camogie on a number of fronts, because when please God the result goes our way in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, everybody will leave in a buoyant mood and hopefully head out to the Grove that evening, where the now annual Clare Camogie race night fundraiser, and you'll be hoping that the punters will have their pockets full after Cheltenham maybe and still think that they can pick a few winners on the night. Very, very important fundraiser, because with all this progress comes pressure for resources, and we don't like talking about it maybe, but there is a bottom line that comes along with it. So big opportunity for Clare Camogie supporters to do just that.
Yeah, and look, obviously with the Paddy Donald sponsorship coming in, there is huge emphasis now on the teams getting maximum amount of money to put in those resources from minor level and up to under 23 and senior. But the race night is always a great night, as is the Golf Classic. That'll be coming up later in the year, and there's definitely always a few funky names for horses and jockeys at the race night. So it's definitely going to be a great night, and if you can get there, the Grove is a good scene to set for definitely a successful night, and hopefully everybody will get behind them.
And if anybody wants to help out on the night or give any little support that they can, I'd say contact any county board officer or Eugene Ray, the management team as well, and they'll send you in the right direction. Anne-Marie, thanks for taking the time to have a chat with us.
No bother, Derek, thanks.
Clare FM's Greyhound News with Galway Greyhound Stadium. The ultimate night out for hens and stags. Enjoy racing and a choice of dinner or group admission packages.
Good evening and welcome to this week's Greyhound Focus. Excitement is brewing at Galway Greyhound Stadium with the final of the Kilcolgan Castle Connacht Derby taking centre stage this Saturday evening, carrying a winner's purse of €9,000 to the winner. Termana Hunter carries the hopes of the Cura Clare Kilmehel supping away syndicate, as he will compete from Trap 4 in the final of this prestigious competition. Trained by Colin Fitzgerald from Tullabrack, he led from trap to line to win his semi-final in 30.38 over the 550-yard strip. This was this son of Ballyhimmakin Jet and Termana Jetty's 10th career success, and he was bred by the late Noel Moroney from Mullock. Wishing all involved the very best of luck Saturday night. Barntick Bolt recorded his first career success for Clarecastle's John Reedy with a 29.56 effort. He's a homebred son of Dermana Bucko and Barntick Smokey. Now to Limerick Greyhound Stadium. Saturday evening last, there was a very impressive performance by the Gary Pepper from Fecal own Boo's Wish in the Conan and Kirby Trial Stake. In the professional care of Tipperary training Páirc Campion, the son of Ballymac Cash Out and Road Queen crossed the line in 28.56. It was a great week for Tulla-based trainer Donny Duggan as he entered the winner's enclosure on 3 occasions at Limerick Greyhound Stadium. On Saturday, My Old Sligo Girl, who is owned by the Hot Tub Syndicate, took the honours in a novice final in 29.28. She is a daughter of Signet Ace and Candan Sue. From Thursday's SIS meeting, Pete Snowa and Candice Widget did the double for Donny. Pete Snowa is owned by Shannon's Peter Russell, and he recorded career win number 13 in 29.48. He's a son of Burgess Bucks and No Time to Talk. Candice Widget, a son of Skywalker Kenny and Miss Dior, owned by the Any Chance of a Cougar syndicate, notched his 7th career success in 28.91. Snuggy Carson made it 2 wins in a week for Miles Cummins and Breda Casey from Newmarket and Fergus with a 29.05 victory. He's a son of Grangeview 10 and Crutty's Act. And the opening contest was won by Fast Fit Jewel for Gort's John Quinn in a time of 30 seconds. This was career win number 1 for this homebred daughter by Fast Fit Paddy and Fast Fit Maeve. That's all for this week, folks. Slán agus Bannocht.
Clare FM's Greyhound News with Galway Greyhound Stadium. The ultimate night out for hens and stags. Enjoy racing and a choice of dinner or group admission packages.
That's where we have to leave you for this week. 2 live commentaries to come over the weekend. We'll have updates from all the other games as well, and a full review then on Monday evening's Sideline View review show from 6 o'clock. The West Wind is up next here on Clare FM. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening.